Welcome back to Fire Emblem the Sacred Stones for the second part of our two back-to-back chapters, landing at Tyzel? Yeah, Tyzel. I always used to say this Taziel, but yeah, Tyzel. So got past the ghost ship, now it's time to get past the, this chapter's probably going to be a two-parter, I'll just say this right now. Because this one is a pretty big map, and look, we have a generic blue soldier over there. At this time, he says. Pretty much, we've landed directly in enemy territory. Meanwhile, hey, we actually get to see Soleil and Ewan traveling together on this route. And Ewan is apparently looking for Marissa. Here's another case of a recruitment that's kind of weird on this route. Well, at least it's better than them bungling and having her actually fighting the rest of her mercenary troop. That's probably worse. Oh, if only he knew. If only he would search a little bit harder here. I don't know, maybe to the ship that's docked at the moment? And I have no idea how he manages to get to Caerpellin so quickly, because, canonically, despite the recruitments being different here, Soleil still only joins Erica's army, even if you're going Ephraim's route. So, somehow he managed to get all the way back up to Caerpellin from here, in time for Erica to meet him, and considering the chapters are pretty concurrent, Erica's getting there around now. Well, I guess, you know, maybe he used warp magic or something, I don't know. And just like Ewan's previous appearance, he's gone into a village and we know where he is right from the start. We cut back to what Seth was actually talking about. Have you seen how these chapters are going so far? Have you even seen how Fire Emblem works? Small elite army trumps large force every single time in this universe. Wait a minute, isn't Ephraim the one defending the convoy since it's attached to him all the time? I don't know. Let's just not think about that too hard. If we surrender the convoy, we won't be able to carry any additional items. And all those one-use left swords will be lying around useless. Out in the open somewhere. Plus, Ephraim doesn't need protecting from harm. Also, yeah, this is a long time to ignore her. She's been standing right there for a while. Turns out it's nothing. Oh wait, it's definitely something. As Generic Soldier will inform us. Of course we are. And we go straight to the preparation screen, so that was kind of short. So let's go ahead and check the map here. This is actually a pretty big one. We're starting on our ship, got some planks leading to the docks here. This chapter is surprisingly very mage-heavy, which is kind of something that you don't see often in this game. We have 4 shamans here. Yeah, 3 shamans there. 4 normal mages, 3 shamans here. Some shamans on this boat, which is full of pirates and axe users and an archer. And 2 more shamans here and another mage. Yeah, so a lot of magic users in this chapter. And, hi there, Marissa. Yeah, looks like the guild already messed up. So she's here, but we'll deal with her when the time comes. Also, the boss is apparently Kalark. I guess we get a preview of his stats here. He's got an S rank in axes, and has some pretty powerful ones. Also this Hoplon Guard. It'd be kind of cool if we could steal that, right? Well, yeah. This is a defeat boss chapter, and obviously if you've played Erica's route, you'll know that Kalark has to survive a bit longer. So, you can probably tell what's coming. There are some kind of dangerous weapons here, though. Hellfire, Zanbato, Lance Reaver. As is kind of standard with Ephraim's route, although we have a guiding ring there. How fitting that it comes in the same chapter that Ewan does. A drawable short bow from that guy, which is pretty nice, and that should be pretty much everyone here. But it won't be. There are going to be some reinforcements coming, and this chapter's actually pretty interesting when it comes to reinforcements. So let's go ahead and pick our characters. We have 12 options, and I don't think I need Colum here anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and replace him with Rachel. And as for who else we've got, let's see, I definitely want Cormag and Tana. Tana especially is going to be quite useful here because, like I said, this chapter is very mage-heavy. Joshua, Amelia, definitely, Seth, Ross, Giselle, Lute. It's going to be kind of overkill to have 3 healers, but I guess it could work. Or I could drop Mulder and bring in Kyle. I will need to give Kyle better weapons, though, if I am going to be bringing him. I guess I can give him the Iron Blade and this Steel Lance, maybe. Okay, Ross probably needs more axes, although you can just go ahead and take your dad's hand axe. I think Seth's fine. Giselle as well. His weapons are a little worse for wear, but he should be mostly fine. I guess that Lance Reaver might help. You got an extra killing edge. You should be alright. You have that javelin. Oh, right. I was going to trade the short spear over to Tana, because I think she'll make better use of that. Other than that, I think Tana is fine on weapons. Amelia should be okay with weapons. I want to get Amelia's sword rank up a little bit. And Cormag, let's see. This is going to be silly, but I might take the Slim Lance. Just because the heavy spears are useless here. There are no armored enemies. And this should be alright. Actually, can you go and sell that white gem in the convoy armory? Yes, you can, for 10,000 gold. Nice. We're not going to actually buy anything from here, but that thing is completely useless sitting around in our inventory. Now, do I have any more staves you can use? Can't use that restore stuff. Might as well take one of them just until you get a C rank, and then you might as well grab Mulder's heal. Okay, time to do our formation. Now, we're actually going to be fighting on a lot of fronts in this chapter, so this is going to be a little bit tricky as it comes to how we position our people. Let's see. I would like Joshua over on that side because of all of the axe users. But I don't want him to be fighting those lance users up there. Actually, Ross could probably try and fight off some of them. Though I will have to watch out for the shamans. Kind of want Amelia and Giselle to be going this way. Doesn't really matter which direction Seth goes in. As for loot, I actually don't really know. Natasha will go wherever Joshua does, obviously. And that should be okay. So, it's time to save and fight our way through a pretty large number of enemies. Okay, may the RNG not curse me this time. So, let's start this. Start this by, Ross is going to go here and equip a hand axe. So this guy and this guy get counter-attacked. Josh is going to go here in preparation to fight against all of the axe users on that boat. And that's just far enough for Natasha to be able to initiate her B support. So let's go ahead and do this. I'll just say, what is it with Cleric and Myrmidon support in this series and saving them from arrows? It happens in Lyssa and Lon'qu supports in Awakening as well, unless that's an intentional reference to this. I wouldn't put it past them, because Awakening had a lot of references to past games. Although she's still pretty good at dodging. It's called building supports. And she just let something slip. Well, that's pretty much what Joshua does. And I'm betting that it's already happened. So yeah, that's the B support. I'll obviously be trying to get them to an A. I really like that support. Speaking of supports I really like that I probably want to get to an A, is Ducelle and Amelia. It's one that I really, really like. You'll see why once I do them. And it also leads to something about this game that I want to point out, is that something that the later games well, not the later games, the more recent games that have come out have kind of lost in a way because of their increased focus on romance, but Sacred Stones actually has a lot of platonic opposite gender supports, and I really like that. It adds quite a bit of variety to just the supports in general, and it shows that not every support pairing has to be romantic. There's a lot of really good platonic ones in this game. So, yeah, I kind of wish they'd bring back some of that if they go forward in the series. So I'm going to have Cormac go around here, because there's a pretty annoying group of reinforcements that spawn around this area. Thankfully, they spawn early on, so if you need to restart due to them, you don't lose very much progress. But still, they're pretty annoying. Rachel's actually going to go, can she? Yeah, here's fine. And loot, I guess, will go around here. So, okay, yeah, before we actually get to the real meat of things, we have Kaylark giving kind of a rousing question mark speech. More of an insulting one. He's reminding the entire army of their dismal failures so far on this route. Well, I guess that's what we're going to make the bards sing about. We've got a pretty big onslaught of enemies here. The first few turns can be kind of tricky because there are a lot of fronts we're fighting on, and there's really just too much ground to effectively choke point. The planks here at being 3 wide, like I said, it's a bit hard to choke point that, and you'll need to choke point the ship to the right as well. And even then, choke pointing the ship to the right is not effective because of these pirates who can actually just go straight in the water and circumvent a choke point on those 2 planks. So yeah, first few turns, actually quite annoying. Now, this guy, I think that he gets double, but I'm not sure, and I don't think he might get... Yeah, he didn't get double that time. Oh well. But this is the guy that I wanted to equip the hand axe for. It's good that Ross dodged a few attacks there. But at the end of the first turn, this happens, and I'm pretty sure it's literally impossible to fight Kaylark before this, so I don't even think he has boss quotes coded in for this chapter. I think the only way you'd be able to attack him by this point is by hacking. But anyway, Kaylark is just doing everything in his power to avoid Johanna because he hates that place. So, this is referencing things that are revealed on Erica's Chapter 14. But Erica's already on her way there, so Kaylark has to go and do damage control. Well, we know exactly what Volta did if we've played Erica's route. Actually, I do find this battle quite interesting. I'm not sure who he means by a certain someone. Maybe Volta? I don't know. But anyway, he's left, and we've got some monsters appearing. So this chapter is a hybrid of normal enemies and monsters, which I actually find pretty cool. One of the very rare times in the game that you actually see this. So yes, these things are actually more capable of thought than we imagined. And yeah, 3 gargoyles spawning all the way down here, one of which has a horse slayer. So that's a pretty jerkish move if you don't see it coming. At least they can't move the turn they arrive. And I'm very glad that Cormag is able to kill this one, because otherwise I'd be in a lot of trouble right now. Having a flyer down here to ambush them if you know they're coming definitely helps. So, that's good. Now I need to worry about... Yeah, no, let's focus on this front first. Ephraim can't kill off that shaman up there, so let's just finish off this guy. And while Tana could get that guy, I think she's better served over on this front because there are more enemies to fight here. 3 shamans and 3 cavaliers, plus all the enemies on the boat. This is going to get pretty tricky quickly. But first, let's finish off this area down here. Let's see... Oh, hey, Carl exactly one-shots you. That's going to be helpful. Because obviously the Rachel is in a bit of danger at this point. Will Kyle's RNG blessing continue? Oh, that was okay, but I would have preferred strength. And let's see, I guess I'm going to have to try and, Seth can't W, that's weird. How much speed do you have? 10. Right. Now, I'm going to need to make sure that Rachel is safe, but I think if she goes behind Ephraim, she's fine. Now, if I make both of those guys attack Cormag, that might work out in my favor. Let's just equip the Iron Sword for now. And let's settle this area. Firstly, let's get rid of the pirates, because they can walk right around my choke point. Also, the hand axes are annoying. It means that they won't die on the enemy phase, most likely. Show off. I mean, that wasn't a terrible time to get an unnecessary crit, but it's still a little bit annoying. And, let's see, I guess I can have Dacel next to her, because like I said, I want to get their support up. Don't rescue, that would be bad. Because that would ruin the choke point as well as killing Dacel's speed. And there are a lot of weakened enemies over here, so let's see which one we take out first. Let's go for... maybe Ross chops you. Ross can, well, at least my Ross at this point can actually double the one with a steel lance up there. Actually, maybe I should have used Ross again, although then he'd get attacked by 3 shamans, which is probably a bad idea. Then there's you. Although I guess it is safe to use the Lance Reaver here, because none of the axe users are in range. Alternatively, though, yeah, no, let's have Loot Fireball this guy. She should, by all rights, be doubling these people, but, yeah. So, their loot speed average at this point is 13.3, so, yeah, like I said, she should have a lot more speed here. I suppose I could waste the one-use killing edge. I mean, the main reason why I kept the one-use killing edge is, well, its one-use could have been a critical, but there it wasn't even necessary. But it's going to clutter up space in my inventory, so might as well get it out of the way now. And now we have to... I don't think Tana will be able to kill the Cavalier. No, she won't. But that guy has Luna, though, so Tana's resistance is not going to help here. However, Luna is also terrible, so I think Tana's pretty much safe attacking this guy. Yeah, Luna is really, really bad in this game. Oh, hey, Tana, that would be an A rank, I believe, which means she can use Silver Lances now, which we can't buy at this point, so it's not really much of a point to that. There's a safe hidey hole for you down here. Oh, you can also heal Ross at the same time. So that works out. Natasha, weirdly enough, maybe because the chapters have been shorter than they have been on Erica's route, but Natasha on this route hasn't been leveled up nearly as much as she was in Erica's, and I'm worried about that because I like her to be a bishop as soon as possible. Well, it's not that important at the moment, but towards the end of the game, having her as a bishop is very, very, very useful. I'm glad they're not all attacking Giselle. I don't know why that first guy did, but he did for some reason. And this is going to get Amelia's sword rank up a bit, which is going to be good, because then she can use stuff that isn't just iron swords. And one of the advantages of going Cavalier is having multiple weapon types, so want to make as much use of that as I can. Cormac, I don't think can double either of these guys, though, which is a problem. Because you want to clear them out as fast as possible. Like I said, there are a lot of fronts that you're fighting on this early on, and having less fronts to deal with is always a good thing. Now that Cavalier there has a Lance Reaver, so I'll need to watch out for that. What is wrong with my luck this playthrough? This game's RNG normally doesn't hate me nearly this much, but it just is in this playthrough for some reason. It's just always a thing where, like, when you're recording, for some reason, everything goes wrong. Now, these Shamans are really, really annoying because they love to use their range to not die on the enemy phase and just stall this choke point here. They're also some of the few things that pose any semblance of threat to Giselle. And that guy down there has a hand axe, so he's not going to die either. Now, these mages incoming aren't that big of a deal, but those spiders, that's where things get a bit scary. Because they all have sharp claws, which, as you know, have insanely high might. In fact, they hit harder than even the boss of this chapter in some circumstances. Alright, I didn't actually check the boss of this chapter yet. And this guy clearly just has no will to live anymore after Kalark's insulting speech. Don't know why he did this, but yeah. He was just like, ooh, me attack Pegasus Knight who doubles and kills me. Okay, that's great, that's very good. Strength is good, resistance is good in this chapter. And reinforcements do spawn from this boat. Now, one thing to obviously mention is, because this is a defeat boss chapter, you don't have to fight the enemies on this boat at all. You can just completely ignore it and rush to the boss. And you can end things pretty quickly that way. But I like to play more for maximizing experience gain, so that's why I'm going to fight the enemies on the boat. Also, here's the boss, a type of monster that we haven't actually seen before, and it isn't even in Gaiden. Cyclops. They're kind of both the monster equivalent to generals and berserkers. They use axes, and they tend to have a lot of strength and defense, but not terrible speed either. So, yeah. These sharp claw spiders. They are really, really bad. But Ross actually can double them, which is good. Although Ross doesn't like getting hit by magic. Fire. Okay, they're both just fire. Where's the L-Fire one? No one of them has here. That's the L-Fire guy. First things first, though. Not quite. That would have been cool if it would work, but doesn't look like it will. That guy's kind of damaged. And he does have a steel weapon. Hey, Loot actually doubles something. Good for her. I'm probably going to need to use a speed beam on her at some point. She's really not supposed to be this slow. I keep saying that, but, it's true. So as long as those spiders can't get to Loot, she's fine. Please let me reverse jinx this and let her gain speed. That's okay. She's still well below average at this point. She should have, like, 14 by now. But still, it's, not really the end of the world. Now this thing I don't like. Guess I can get a few little preemptive hits on the spider if I go up there. Just gotta watch out for the archers. Might not be a bad thing either. Although if she does go there, then It's possible she could get hit by both the spiders in the same turn. So, let's not do that. Let's instead make use of Flyer Awesomeness and have her just hover in the water here, which is out of range of the archers and the spiders, but in range of the mages. And she just took 1 extra damage thanks to that resistance gain, which is good. Every little bit counts sometimes. Right, in a previous attempt, here's a point where Joshua could go on a really big gamble and try and kill that mage there. He needs to dodge that spider to live, though, and I don't know if I like those odds, so I'm gonna just avoid that for now. And instead, I'm gonna have Joshua hang back here. If I move to sell back 1 space, I could actually heal him, but then I don't want these guys to continue to rain on my... Yes, kind of rain on my parade. They're not really being that much of a threat to me at this point, but... I kind of need Ross here for the spiders. Like I said, he does double them. So I guess... I want that hand axe guy gone, actually, but... Actually, we could move the line 1 ahead by doing this, and I can switch back to the land safely, because... hopefully, the other axe user will be gone by the end of this turn. And by the end of this turn, I mean by right now. Also, come on, Amelia, rank up your sword rank soon. It's getting there. And now, like I said, I'm going to need to... Can have Ross go in the water here. And why not just build some more supports? Now, like I said, this guy here does have a Lance Reaver, so you want to be careful if you're committing Ephraim to the fray. However, Ephraim is amazing, and Lance Reaver or no Lance Reaver, these enemies are absolutely nothing to him, so he's just going to run in anyway. Though I don't like the idea of him taking a bit of extra damage from that Shaman, so let's just smash the Shaman now. Okay, Lance Reaver is there. Now Cormag can just try to finish off these guys. She's going to stall him from getting to the front lines, but he's a flyer. He doesn't need much help in doing that anyway. After these guys are gone, he can just fly right up here. I'd like him to be leveled up a little bit more, though. Okay, so Lance Reaver. Now, this guy does have a Zumbato, so thankfully he can't get to any of my cavalry, so I don't have anything to worry about. So I should probably switch out. Good news about that Lance Reaver is that Kyle and Seth both have swords, so as long as I get them to switch out their lances for swords, the Lance Reaver isn't a threat. What is okay. I was going to say kind of a threat as those guys because Amelia doesn't double them, but evidently she didn't need to. And that's a much better level up than you got last time. I like that. It's kind of funny how she's getting Strength Bless on this route, but Defense Bless on Erica's route. It's at least better than how Amelia turned out for me in my most recent non-recorded playthrough, where she got nothing blessed. She ended up terrible in basically everything except skill and luck. In other words, she was Suck Bucky, except without a flyer. And less movement, because she was a Great Knight. So an even worse Suck Bucky. Like I said, Lance Reaver or no Lance Reaver, Ephraim is still amazing. He even doubles. Wow. I don't like that Mouth Doog. Because if that thing, like, okay, so if it generated differently, it might not, but last time that thing had 17 speed, and I realized, thinking about it, that 17 speed is actually completely undoubleable by anyone unpromoted. Because you need 4 or higher, and the maximum unpromoted speed stat is 20. So you need at least 21 to double 17. And here we don't have many enemies left over, although we are in a situation where I kind of would like to have an extra healer on this front, because I think I need to... Actually, I only need to heal Amelia down here. Well, I need to heal Dacel as well, but he's kind of fine. And a spider reinforcement with a sharp claw. Oh, I don't like sharp claw spiders. They are really, really, really... I hate sharp claw spiders. So... Right, I'm going to have to be careful if I want to protect Natasha here. I was going to say Amelia at first, but Amelia's not the one that needs protecting here. So... I guess I should kill the short bow first. It has a kind of existent crit rate. Although, wait a minute. Could Joshua reach you? I might need Joshua to kill the spiders anyway. Yeah, Joshua could have reached you. And let's send the short bow, which we're not going to be using because we don't have irons, and I'm not using... I am not using Namie on this file. Okay, so first things first here. Ross does double the spiders, but he does take a lot of damage if he gets hit. Okay, on the off chance that I could miss those. There's almost no chance that I miss this. Actually, wait, I have to use the killer axe because 17 times 2 is 1 off killing this thing. And of course, Ross gets hit. So here's where I need to rely on a little bit of, exactly, because 10 times 2, but loot will probably double the spider, and 18 times 2 is enough, and none of the archers can get to her there, so provided can that thing critical her? No. Okay, so she is actually safe if I put her here. Which is somewhat surprising. Once more Pokemon logic. Burn the spider. I still wish Ariados had a bug psychic Mega Evolution, because seriously, Ariados could use the boost. It's pretty terrible at the moment. Huh. Well, actually, Amelia needs the experience more, but I can't really resist doing this. 11 crit without even a kill, although that must be the support bonus talking. I'm pretty sure you're in range of Natasha's support. Yes, you are. Okay, now if all of them hit Joshua, 14, 14, all of them 14, I have 8 defense, so I would take 6 damage. That's, yeah, if all 3 of them hit him, he doesn't die, so that's fine. Guess I can have Dacel start moving up here, although I want to build his supports with Amelia, because I love those supports a lot, so I might just keep him back here. And now, let's see. What do you have? Oh, you got a Killing Edge. I thought there was something special about your equipment if you're just a random mercenary standing out in the middle of nowhere. I need to have Rachel heal Cormag. I also need that guy to go, and also need to watch out for that guy. Alright, that's a Lance Reaver. I keep forgetting this guy has a Lance Reaver sometimes. But I mean, at least it's not anywhere near as potentially fatal as forgetting someone has a Sword Slayer. That could result in horribleness. Now, these spiders do actually... I was about to say kinda two-shot Seth, but there's no kinda involved. They do two-shot Seth. At least the Seth at this point. If you've got an overgrinded Seth, well, if you've got an overgrinded Seth, he's probably already killed the boss by now. Yeah, that's the thing with defeat boss missions in Fire Emblem. They can often be very, very short, especially if you're on a speedrun. I remember back in a Radiant Dawn speedrun, there were a lot of defeat boss chapters that Ha could beat in literally less than 5 seconds. one of them that was kind of funny, because by all rights it shouldn't end in 5 seconds, but because the boss is programmed to move before the rest of the enemies do, the boss just, like, you move hard to a position where, in fact, I think even there might be a few bow users or thunder mages that could actually stand a risk of killing Ha, but instead the boss just runs right up to him, dies, and the chapter ends, because the boss is programmed to move first. I'll still say, it's one of those, was it AGDQ 2015? Or was it 14 or 15? I don't think it was 16. One of the AGDQs, that speedrun of Radiant Dawn there, I still love that speedrun. It's just one of my favorites. Because Radiant Dawn I find to be one of the more interesting Fire Emblem speedruns, because there's not really any major exploits in the game. Unlike Path of Radiance, it doesn't have the 255 critical forge bug, and it doesn't have any way of RNG manipulation, not that I know of, that the GBA games do, so it's mostly just a pretty clean run. And also, due to the nature of Radiant Dawn, you're forced to use a lot of different characters. Also, I thought the guy doing the commentary for that run was pretty enjoyable overall, so I like that speedrun a lot. I will admit that it does annoy me sometimes when, okay, I weaken this guy with Tana so that Luke could only take 1 hit and not 2. But yeah, it does annoy me sometimes when, in the GBA Fire Emblem games, speedruns often get, people saying, oh, this is boring because it's RNG manipped and you know everything is going to happen, which, like, in a way does make sense, but there is a lot of skill that goes into RNG manipulated speedruns, especially given that you have to plan the entire route in advance, and the moment that one part of it changes, you've got to change everything else as you just try and get the RNG back on track. So, I don't know, I get that they are a bit less enjoyable to watch because the runner knows everything that's going to happen, and it's less about planning your strategy and stuff and backup plans and things like that, and more about, hey, that happened, that's good, and more about, this is going to be kind of funny, if Joshua kills this guy, I'm going to have Natasha survive getting hit by an arrow, which is like that support conversation. Then anyway, what I was saying was, yeah, rather than like backup strategies and things like that, it's more about just pure button execution and getting all your inputs right, which then again is what most speedruns are about anyway, but still. But yeah, like I said, I think that diminishes like a lot of the genuine effort that goes into those speedruns. Like, I do admit that they are a bit less interesting to watch sometimes, and I also admit that, it's really not how you're supposed to play the game. Like, for example, I know I say this many, many times, but the FE7 speedrun, RNG manipulates Florina to get way more strength than she should ever get in any playthrough. And I need to kill that archer now, otherwise Cormag is in danger. But anyway, I'm going off on a lot of weird tangents. Okay, now if Ephraim gets hit by both Elfire and the spider in the same turn, that will be pretty painful. Okay, either Ephraim or Seth has to kill the archer. That's exactly enough. I'm on a bit of a weird tangent, but we've mostly cleared out the port, which is good. Then it'll be time for the second half of the map, and the reinforcements aren't done. Well, I mean, they're not done yet. There are going to be a lot more spider reinforcements coming in the space of the next few turns, but there are eventually going to be reinforcement bone walkers coming from up here. Oh, also, there's an arena in this chapter. The second and last arena for Ephraim's route. Comes a little later than Erica's second arena, but still, both routes only get 2 arenas. But they're really not that necessary in this game, since you have the Tower of Valny, which I find is a much safer way of grinding experience. And even gold, like, you get given plenty of gold in this game. There's not really very much need to grind for gold. Okay, yeah, Rachel is safe down here. I healed the wrong person, but it's really no big deal. Cormac wasn't going to get attacked this turn anyway. So now, we have to worry about these guys, that archer, that spider, and that guy with a... This is the... Yeah, that guy's got a killer bow, this guy's a killing edge. I could, however, fly Tana all the way over here and just hit that guy from range. I could also... That's not enough. That is enough, but if she misses, she could be in trouble. I think she can survive one... Yeah, if she can survive one hit from a bow. Okay, that's what I'm going to try for here. I want to be building up support between Ephraim and Tana as well, because I want to get their ace support as well. Yes, I like Lord and Pegasus Knight pairings. Well, mostly. I don't like Hector and Florina, but that's another issue entirely. Or Ellawood and Fiora, by the way. Okay, both of them need to be... And Asha's all the way down there. Which is actually bad, because you're both going to need to fight some spiders soon. Only one enemy left here, though, which is good. Totally optional, that boat, but I like the experience. And you're going for Seth for some reason. I still love how Elfire looks in this game. But I still think it's weird that it's the only L tone that they actually have in this one. I predict Cormac will one-shot. No, Cormac doesn't one-shot you. Well, he does with that. So I guess I can go for that. Don't know if you get more from the spider or not. And we get Elfire, which Loot really won't be able to effectively use until quite a bit later. Guess we can at least just gain a tiny bit more ground. Those few extra points of might really make all the difference when it comes to doubling something. Oh hey, this was exactly enough. Okay, need to stay away from you, but as long as I do that, Tana can pick off these guys. Being completely safe from that archer. You can also see one of the very strange buildings in this chapter. This inn here. It's kind of weird. You don't normally see inns in Fire Emblem. I guess Amelia can finish this one off. She needs a little bit more experience as is. You know, I guess I could have her and Ducelle try and carry Joshua and Natasha back to the main part of the battlefield, but Ducelle is pretty slow moving, so it's not like he'd actually help them get there any faster. Now that I see it, yeah, some people in comments did point out that the helmet on Great Knights does look a lot like the Black Knights in the Tellius games, and it actually does. I do see that now. Well, you can kill that spider. The problem is that you are going to die without healing. And that's also not enough to kill. That's just barely not enough to kill you in return. Okay, let's... you're not gonna die, are you? I'm pretty sure you're not gonna die. So let's just wait for the healer to come. And then I can heal Cormag. Because we're going to need him a little bit more later into the chapter. And then Seth is going to need to be some more healing experience for Rachel. And let's go. I haven't forgotten about Marissa, but recruiting her is going to be a little bit interesting. You know that whole stripping weapons and luring thing that I originally did for Joshua until I realized that I didn't need to? I'm going to need to do that here. You'll see why once we get there. I'm going to use Dicel as the candidate for that. I mean, I'm sure she's not going to be able to hurt him. Extra strength would have been good, but extra luck is nice.